We're live. We got some viewers. There we go. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another Friday afternoon, and you know what Friday means. It's time for the Bringin It Home chat. Last week we had Dwyer Brown on, one of the members of the cast, and this week we have a very special guest of a different area. We have Jake Dodds right here. Jake Dodds is a country music performer and a NASCAR fan, as we have recently learned. He will actually be performing at the field for First Responders Day this coming summer. We could not be more excited for that. And to have some, great music at the field, that's a huge opportunity as well. And we're just happy to sit down with you here today, Jake.
Yeah, I'm super excited to be coming out to the field. I've actually been there once before.
Yeah.
A few years ago, and walked around. I don't know if it was spring or fall, but the corn wasn't up, so I didn't get the full experience. I just remember it being very windy, pretty cold. So I'm excited to come back in the heart of summer and experience the full thing.
So how many times have you been to Dubuque? Because I obviously I saw you with Chris Lane, I guess last year or 2 years ago, and so. Yeah. Is that you've been back and forth a couple times? It sounds like.
Yeah, we've been in Dubuque a lot. I think you probably had to see us when I lost my voice, right?
Probably it might have been. It was in the old theater in downtown Dubuque.
Don't answer that.
Yeah, that was the craziest one. So we've been in Dubuque a bunch. It's one of my favorite cities. Hands down, we do really well there numbers wise, and I love it. I think it's a neat city. I love the people there, and we've always had great shows in Dubuque. But that Five Flag Center with Chris Lane in particular was an interesting one because production got moved up, and everybody knew about it except for us. And so I got a call from the sound guy as I was getting in the shower that we were supposed to be there.
Oh man!
So we're staying directly across the road, and ran across the road. We started 10 minutes late. Everybody was mad at us, even though it wasn't our fault. And plus, I was sick. I could hardly talk. So rough weekend.
Sounds like it. Hey, but I didn't notice it at all. It was a great show for you and Chris. I really enjoyed it all, and obviously that's part of the reason you're here today was. I thought that was awesome, and from what we see on your social media, it's incredible. I'll give you that right now. The social media is awesome.
Thanks, man.
And obviously your newest song, Four Door, kind of plug that a little bit. That's awesome. I mean, Roman and I have listened to that a lot lately, and it really it's a great song. And if you want to plug it at all here, everyone who hasn't listened to it, definitely listen to it. It's great.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Yeah.
It's a song I've been in love with for a long time, so I was excited to put it out.
There you go.
That's awesome. Yeah, it came out in February.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Yep. Got any new releases planned for later this year, Jake?
Well, I don't know. So the four door was the definite gonna happen, and I was really hoping that we could ride that four door wave a lot longer than what we've been able to. And I don't know if that's just because it didn't take off quite the way that we thought it would. The video has done really well. Yeah. The overall streams have been decent. But I really had a lot of faith. I love that song. It's probably one of my favorite songs. I didn't write it. The guys that did write it are two people that I really look up to. And I thought we'd be able to ride the four-door wave a little bit longer, honestly. And we probably would have been able to, other than all this stuff kind of went down and it's kind of sidetracked everything really. So I don't know. We'll do what we can. No planned releases. I obviously wanted to do a lot more this year. I've already put out 2 singles this year, so I thought we were going to really be able to run that down and do a lot of new music. But everybody's quarantined, so not a whole lot to do. Trying to figure out ways of doing things. We got some Zoom rights going on.
There you go.
Yeah, and everybody's making videos in their house, and then I'm editing them together and putting out stuff. We just did our first one today, so we're working on some things. But I don't know. I guess everything's kind of up in the air right now.
For sure. And, I think that's one of the cool things that Tucker and I have been seeing in fans in general, too, is, celebrities, musicians of all kind and athletes as well, just coming up with new content, right, for fans to see, and doing MLB The Show for Major League Baseball players playing that live and just improving. I think it's cool because you get to see a new side to people you usually don't get to see that side of.
Yeah, it's definitely pretty neat. I've struggled. I think it's hard to come up with enough content anyway, right? Like I'm sure that you guys are big Gary Vee followers, given that you're doing like an online show, right? I think we
For sure.
So if you're talking about the amount of content that like Gary Vee's talking about, like that's hard on a good day. So it's challenging, but it's definitely neat to see like what direction everybody's going in.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So we're going to open it up to questions for fans here in a little bit, but first we're going to start off with some that we have for you, Jake. So first, for our fans that maybe aren't familiar with you, we're so excited to have you out for First Responders Appreciation Day. It's going to be a great day, fun family baseball, just giving back to first responders, and you're going to be a part of that. You're going to be a highlight for that day. So kind of taking the field and everything, tell us a little bit how music has played an impact in your life and how you got started.
Yeah, it's there for as long as I can remember, riding back and forth with my mom. She was always playing music. My grandpa was always singing songs. We'd go over there every Saturday night, and my grandparents are big country music fans, so they were always watching the Opry and the Statler Brothers show. So really, it all came from that. Those just watching the early Opry's, and like I said, the Statler. I used to be obsessed with the Statler, Counting Flowers on the Wall. It's such a cool song. And I just kind of got hooked in it and all that stuff early, and then all through growing up. It's just always kind of been there.
Awesome. Anybody in particular that you kind of follow suit? Anyone you looked up to?
I think it goes in phases, but probably not. Like when I was younger, Garth. Like it was all Garth, right?
For sure.
I mean, I love all 90s country, but like when I was younger, I was obsessed with Garth Brooks. I used to I remember watching the TV special, and he was singing Ain't Going Down, and he's running around everywhere, and then he flies, and I was like, I want to do that. Like if that's an option that I would like. And I, obviously it took a lot longer for me to follow through on that, but that kind of set the wheels in motion, and I always kind of had that dream of one day I'm going to do that no matter what I'm doing, and I didn't follow that path necessarily, but I got there in the long run. But so probably Garth early on, Brad Paisley for a long time, still love Brad Paisley stuff. Eric Church. The older stuff, he's lost me on some of the new stuff. I'll say that. People can tweet me, at me, whatever. He's lost me on the new stuff.
He's got a little more poppy towards the new stuff. It sounds like.
Yeah.
It's
we'll give people the opportunity to tweet you here. So
we'll get there. Yeah, but definitely Kenny Chesney through all the years too, man. I'm a huge Kenny Chesney fan, and if I had to pick one overwhelming right now, I would probably go with Kenny Chesney.
Cool.
Pretty solid answer right there. That's great. Yeah. I guess off of that same thing. I mean, we're speaking favorites here. Do you have a favorite show that you've performed and maybe even a favorite location?
Well, Dubuque is one of my favorite towns, and I'm not just saying that to
pump us up.
To say it.
We told you to say that. No.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. I really do. I love the city. We usually play out at Q Casino out there. I got to give a huge shout out to Q Casino. Chuck at Q is a great friend of mine, and everybody that's involved in all those. So I love Dubuque. All of our shows at Q have always been amazing, and that's honestly the reason that I love Dubuque probably so much, is because we've never really had a bad night there.
Absolutely.
One of the coolest things is the very first time we opened for Brett Young. Then we were coming back to the Q to open for Lanco, and Lanco had gotten on the Dustin Lynch tour and had to cancel, so they kept us in the ballroom or the showroom. I think they call it the showroom. And I was convinced no one's coming. Everybody bought Dustin Lynch or Lanco tickets. They're out with the DL, so no one's coming to see us. And then we showed up. We saw a really good crowd. So that was the beginning of it. And I was like, well, this is. So then I'm like, okay, well, this is a fluke. This shouldn't have happened. This is an accident. These people thought Lanco was still going to be here. And so we come back the next time, and the crowd's even better. And like it, so definitely Dubuque. We played the Surf Ballroom in Clear Lake, Iowa, which is the last place that like Buddy Holly and Big Bopper played. So that, as far as like history, probably that room. Some cool nights in Chicago. Everything has got its own special. Each night has its own like special thing.
Yeah. Yep. I gotta ask, where every musician, like their first time performing live, right? Can you tell us when and where that was, and is there any particular time, of that night that sticks out to you?
Yeah. So the very first show that I ever did with the band, Bloomfield, Indiana. It was the Apple Fest. I think it's the Apple Festival. I can't remember exactly what they call it, Apple Fest or Apple Butterfest. But regardless, the first show ever. And we had been practicing for like a ridiculous amount of time. Like, this is the first band that I had ever been in. And I started late. Like, I was 23 or something like that. And we had practiced like all summer. We'd get together like on every Friday night and like run through a bunch of songs. But like, I was reading off the lyrics, and I don't know where I was at. But so going into the show, like, I finally realized like I'm not going to be able to read these lyrics while we're playing the show. So like I went through like learning all of them to memory, which is the first time that I'd ever had to really do that. Now I can do it like no problem. But at the time, it was pretty challenging. And we go up. My whole family came, so like just to make it like super awkward. Like, not only are you about to sing in front of a bunch of strangers for like the first time, but like everyone in my family came. And my grandpa used to play in a band, so like he's done that. He knows what it's all about. And it was awful. Like I was just really not. I was so worried that I didn't even have like fun until like the last song started, because I was thinking like, okay, we're about to get out of here. But I messed up like 3 songs in, and I messed up like 4 songs in a row, and then kind of settled down. So,
yeah. Hey, you got to start somewhere. That's awesome. And you kept on going, right? You kept on going. Yeah,
kept on going. Yeah.
That's awesome. So, talk to us a little bit about, a favorite song that sticks out to you that you've done. What's your favorite, or what's closest to your heart?
Like one of mine, or a cover song?
One of yours.
Probably 4-Door right now. I think that changes too. I'm always changing like what the like exact goal is, or like what my favorite song is. Like I don't know that I have a favorite song, because it's probably different every day depending on my mood. But I would say, like, as far as favorite song out of the set right now, probably 4-Door. And again, I didn't write that song, but I've been in love with it for so long. I remember Sunday Best like played it when we would open for them, and they played it for me, like the recorded version, for the first time in their touring van in the alleyway of the Bluebird. And I just always liked that song. So to finally get a chance to cut it and put it out was super cool, and I love our version of it. I think everybody will if they listen to it a little bit more. We just got to find a way to get it in front of them.
I mean, that's it. Everyone listening right now, check out 4-Door. Doesn't disappoint.
4-Door,
and now you'll be able to put some sound to the face as well, and that's always good right there as too.
Jake, where can fans find you, my friend?
Absolutely.
Pretty much anywhere. If you go to jakedodds.com, that's the easiest way to get to like the mainstay. So you can go to Facebook, Instagram, Apple Music, and Spotify, and I think YouTube, all from the website. And then you don't need to remember anything. Just go to Jake Dodds. It's DODDS.com, and there's little buttons across the top. But if you go on Apple and search Jake Dodds, I'll pop up. If you go to Spotify and search Jake Dodds, I'll pop up. It's not super hard to find us. I know people have trouble on like Amazon sometimes. They always message me and want to know why they can't find stuff on Amazon. I have no idea. I don't use it. I'm sorry, Amazon. Jeff Bezos has enough money. And, I'm an iTunes guy. So I don't know. If you can't find me on Amazon, download Spotify or iTunes.
So, off of that, I got a question for you, with you, being an Apple guy and an iTunes side there. How do you think the ability to stream music with Apple Music now has changed the music industry and also for artists? I mean, that's a popular question I feel like I've heard across the industry a lot.
Yeah, well, it's easier than ever to make music and put music out. It's harder than ever to like get it in front of people because there are so many options. You know, there's so many ways of not only like getting the music, like if somebody only uses Spotify or only uses Apple, you know, you can pretty much get to all of them with your aggregator, but there's just getting the actual song in front of somebody that might like it is hard because there's algorithms for each site. Each site is different.
Yep.
So that's probably the main thing. I think it's, well, it doesn't even matter if I think it's good or bad because it is what it is. And before long, it's going to be the only option. I mean, it kind of is already, but
Right.
you know, I think they've talked about phasing out iTunes and it will only be Apple Music.
Yep.
I really enjoy Apple Music because I always used iTunes and I think it's user friendly to me. I can't figure out how to navigate Spotify. I have just like the free account. So I don't know. I think it's harder to find stuff. I think it's usually I'm not a playlist guy. I guess is probably what part of that is. I don't like to press play and just let it roll. If I'm going to listen to something, I'm already looking for a particular song or just that artist already.
I'm the same way.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's really good.
Well, we're looking forward to hearing a lot of your stuff, you know, at the field when you're performing live. Any song in particular that you like performing live better than the others that you do?
Yeah, a few of them. A lot of the stuff off the first EP I did, Beer for That, people always love that. Little Red Dress is probably one of the biggest live show hits that we have. It's one that everybody usually knows. If they know my stuff at all, they usually know Little Red. It's upbeat, it's dancey. So Little Red Dress is always great. Living the Dream has done really well live. People have really.
That's my favorite.
Yep.
Oh, thanks, man. That's a funny one too because that's one that came out of just like total annoyance. Like I was. Last year was a crazy year for us. So 2018, we had we were still fully intact because for years I had guys all out of Indiana and we were the same band every week. You know, a lot of Nashville guys, it's always different players and stuff like that. And I had the same guys every week for like 3 years running. We had a really good thing going, tight show, and we did 180 plus shows in like 2018. And I slowly started to lose guys. Like one guy went to law school, one guy got tired of the road. We all got tired of each other, you know, and so started losing some guys, and that got really hard because then you have to bring other people in, and so it got I'm losing my train of thought on where I was going with that.
That's okay.
What was your original question? You're asking me if there's like any song that.
Yeah.
And
yeah,
he had
about living the dream.
That's
so
it.
If there's any particular song you like performing, and you mentioned living the dream.
Oh yeah,
you were kind of going into how you wrote that song.
I was like, how did I even get to where what am I explaining to you right now?
We'll get you back on track, right? We'll get you back on the bass path there.
Yeah, well, like I was telling you before we went live, I've just got this little setup today, and I positioned this light perfectly to where this looks like a really pro setup that I'm working off. It's actually an office, like end table, a stand with a rubber band phone, and a broken light. So I've done I've been doing a few videos and live things to like catch up with that because I've been pretty complacent. So my mind is like a little scattered. But anyway, so yes, living the dream's done well live. The story behind it was like all that stuff was kind of falling apart. It was good because like we were busy, but like things started to fall apart and not fall apart necessarily. But I was bringing in new people and like the show kind of lost a little bit. But everybody I would talk to would always be like, "Hey man, you're out there living the dream," and I'd be like, "Yeah, sort of, you know, like, sort of am." But so living the dream came from like this really just annoyed place in me at my career and like my lack of productivity and things like that. And it was a song that I thought no one would ever care about because I thought it was specific to music. I didn't realize that it kind of had like an overreaching theme or vibe. But so we started living the dream in the summer of 2019. And it just kind of like the way it worked out, it took it didn't get done until December, January of 2020. And so I put it out as kind of like to trick the algorithm to boost up followers and likes and listeners for Four Door. And the funny thing about it was I think people got behind Living the Dream a lot more than they got behind Four Door, at least at the start. But I feel like we burnt one there. I think we had a good song, and I burned it. I put it out for like 2 weeks in front of Four Door, so I only had like a week to really promote it.
Oh,
and then I had to switch to Four Door. So I think I burnt a really good song. But the moral of that story is that people seem to like it live. so there you go. Content.
That's
so we
made it home.
We got a question here, Roman. I'm seeing on our YouTube comments we've actually received 2 comments now from JSW Rebel. And the first one we already had answered, so the second one is right here, and it is: have you done or do you plan to have any live streams of your music for fans? Obviously, trending thing right now, Willie Nelson, was doing something that recently, and so it's a great question.
Yeah, so we've done a bunch of stuff in the past. I don't have any plans right now, just given the current situation. It's kind of hard. I don't really play guitar. I can bang around and make some bad noise, but for me to play by myself and sing would be awful. So I have to really have somebody with me. So that's kind of hard to do right now, pretty much everywhere. We were doing some for a little bit with Alex and Dave, but just felt that it probably wasn't the best move because everybody's around different people, right? And we kind of started to think maybe as things got more and more serious, we thought maybe it wasn't the best move. Now, to each their own, but it seems like things are maybe improving. So I'm definitely looking at the idea of trying to like get back to doing like a live. The other part of that is that it's been super saturated because there are so many people doing them. So I kind of just haven't. But I did put out a video today. What we've been trying to do is like splice stuff together. So like Adam, who plays with us a bunch, cut a guitar part in Nashville, sent that to me, and then I played it in my ear, sang to the phone in this exact setup earlier today, and then spliced it all together and put it out. So you can actually find that on my Instagram and Facebook right now. So
check that out.
And we're gonna do more of those. We got more coming. That was just like today. Was when I finally had enough time to sit down and iron it all out. So
awesome.
So
for you dreamers out there that are looking for something else to follow up this live session, go to Jake Dodds.
That's a great idea.
That's right.
Go to his pages and watch that.
Speaking of live events and the changing atmosphere of entertainment in the world, talk a little bit about your experience with virtual NASCAR as a fan recently here and all that.
Yeah. So I grew up a NASCAR fan. My parents were big racing fans. My dad paints cars.
Okay.
So he used to paint when I was little. He would paint sprint cars, and in Indiana and I guess in Iowa also sprint cars are a pretty big deal. Ohio too. But mainly Midwest. It's everywhere, but I feel like in the Midwest, people, if you can say sprint car in the Midwest, people know what you're talking about. If you say it in some places, they don't. They just know that it's like a form of racing. So, but my dad painted sprint cars when I was little and was a crew guy. We'd go to there's a racetrack here that's pretty famous, Bloomington Speedway, every Friday night when we were kids. And so I've always loved racing in pretty much any form except drag racing. I apologize to all the drag racers. Never understood it. Don't care for it. But big racing fan overall. And the iRacing thing is I knew that it existed, but I'm not sure that I knew what it was. It's basically like a very high-tech form of NASCAR Heat or whatever game you play, Forza maybe. And they do it for everything. I don't even know like what all you can race, and I think like pretty much everything. They got sports cars, they have Indy cars, but so the NASCAR guys started this somehow, and they put it on Fox Sports. You can watch NASCAR on Fox Sports, and then IndyCar followed, and they're doing the IndyCar is on NBC Sports, So, and usually IndyCar is on Saturdays. Fox Sports is on Sundays with NASCAR. And I think NASCAR is running whatever track they were supposed to be at each week.
Wow.
And IndyCar is either picking the tracks or letting the fans vote on which tracks they race, because they just ran Michigan. But it's pretty cool. Like, they're in it's real time, right? Like, they're in their setup and they're racing like on their computer and they're seeing it in real time, and somehow that's like broadcast out and you see it. It looks like watching a real race. Like, if you're not paying that much attention, you can't really tell at first that it's not real until you see them kind of the crashes are weird, obviously, and stuff like that. But I don't know. Yeah. I'm not saying when this is all over that I'm going to sit around and watch simulated racing, but right now it's definitely something to do.
Yeah.
Yeah. So. Awesome. Well, hey, we got a question from Bullet Bob 5. He is a loyal follower.
Let's go, Bob.
Yeah. He says,
great guy.
Jake, what was the name of your first band?
The first band was called the Perkins Brothers Band.
The Perkins Brothers Band.
Your backstory there?
Yeah. No, that name, we were just standing around in the yard trying to think of like a name, and Wyatt came up with the Perkins Brothers. We all had a name too. Like, we all had like a fake Perkins name, like Roy Perkins or what,
That's awesome. Were there any Perkins in the band at all?
No. Yeah.
That's great. I love it.
Yeah, not at all. It was cool. Yeah.
That's awesome. So I got to ask, when you come to the field, is your family coming?
Yeah. My parents already have hotel rooms booked.
Yeah.
There you go. That's great.
Well, we will. We'll be happy to do it.
I sent her an email or text or something and told her that it might happen, and she responded back and said, "There's only 2 hotels in Dyersville. I'm going to book this one." So she's had rooms from the jump. So.
Well, we will.
Right out of the gate.
We'll definitely get you family and you walking out of the corn photo shoot, because that's an image you guys will have to have.
There you go.
Yeah.
You got to get it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome. Tucker, you got any other questions for Jake?
The NASCAR one was a big one for me. Talking a little bit about four-door was big. Favorite song. I think we've covered it all. For you guys watching right now who have just tuned in, once we end this here in a few minutes, you'll be able to go back and watch it all again. Some great insight there. But, I mean, Roman, is there any, you want to finish off with a question, Roman?
Yeah, I got 2 for you, Jake. First off, this one's fun. What is a fun fact about you that your fans don't already know or our fans don't know?
Well, most of my fans probably already know, but all those that don't. It's that
that's awesome.
When I'm at home, and sometimes when I'm not at home, I've become a diehard Croc wearer. This is actually the only pair that I own. It's the same pair that I've always owned.
Wow.
But like they hold up. Like,
there you go.
I've had these for probably like 5 years now, and they look brand new. Like, what are you gonna do? They're cozy, they're comfy. I'm telling you, there's a bunch of haters out there that don't like Crocs.
Sounds like
there's a promo for Crocs.
I was gonna say, it sounds like you'd be a great sponsorship opportunity for them. That's what it sounds like.
I know. I'm not sure why they haven't reached out yet.
Yeah, seriously.
That's great.
Seriously. An impromptu product placement right there.
Yes, absolutely.
Boom. There you go.
I'll have the Crocs at the field.
Good. Sure. That's good.
Nice. For sure. Yeah. Well, on that note, speaking of the field, we'll wrap up with this question, Jake. We always ask all of our guests this. I have a podcast that I host as well for the Field of Dreams, the Dream Nation show, and we always ask this: if there's one message or lesson to take away from the movie Field of Dreams, what is that, in your opinion?
If you build it, they will come.
That's it.
There you go.
I didn't say that either.
No, I didn't tell you to say that.
No, better
radio show, and they're like, tell us what station made you a winner, and you know that they're going to say K whatever. No, I feel like that should be the answer that everybody has. But when I read that question, I was literally thinking that. I was like, well, that hit me immediately. Well, if they build it, or if you build it, they will come, because it applies to so many things. back when I was first getting started, I had really no idea that I would ever be at this point, or like in a point that I could be going to the Field of Dreams to play a show. Like, that's crazy. I remember the days where I hadn't even really considered traveling outside of Indiana. So I think it just it's true to so many things, and just like what you guys have done with these shows and what you're continuing to do with the ball field and everything that you guys have going on, and to each person watching this, like whatever your hobby or your dream is or anything like that, if you put in the time and the effort, then people will eventually come, and it could be a huge audience or a small audience or a niche audience or whatever, but there's going to be like an audience that appreciates your efforts and your time and what you're trying to do. So if you build it, they will come.
Amen to that.
That's so true.
Well,
that's awesome, Jake.
No, Roman, do you have anything else at all? Is that it?
I think I'm good, man. I'm just excited to see you perform live at the field.
Amen.
I know.
Amen to
I'm
that.
pumped. I can't wait. I think I told you in an email. It's my Field of Dreams is my mom's favorite movie.
Yes, yes, you told us that. That's awesome.
So when I was growing up, I saw it a ton of times. I watched it probably like a year ago. I made my daughter watch it because it was like summer. It was summery, and it's like, we need to watch a summer movie, like a baseball movie. I was like, Field of Dreams. So
there you go.
Yeah, I love the movie, and like I said, I've been before. We drove out there to see it. I'm super excited to see it like in full form with green grass and the corn up. So yeah, I can't wait. July 25th.
That's right.
Fingers crossed that everything keeps going in a upswing.
Positive direction, right?
Positive direction. I think we're there. I really do. It's hard to tell when you watch the news which side we're on, but I feel like overall, if you take all the news and put it together and then throw it out because it's all nonsense, I feel like we're on a positive trend. So
that's it.
Us too.
All right.
Jake, thanks so much for the time.
Yeah.
Dreamers, this is Bringing It Home again. Tucker LaBelle, Roman Weinberg here, and Jake Dodds. Jake, we'll see you in July, my friend.
Yeah, stay, all of you watching and the two of you guys, stay healthy. We look forward to seeing all you guys this summer at the field, seeing you as well, Jake, and we really appreciate your time.
Can't wait. It's going to be fun. We'll see you guys then.
Been an honor, guys. Thanks.
Hey, Dreamers.